Okay, alright. Got everything set up, send the link all around. Hopefully people will join. Alrighty then. Let's... Yeah, now we can actually put this more in the middle like we had before. And... There we go. Well, almost, I think. Why is it so dark? Filters. Edit filters. Ah, yes. Get rid of this. Bam. Yeah, there we go. And bam. And chocolate rain. Boom. Alright. Welcome to the Fluff. And welcome to tonight's SCP stream. It's been 2 weeks since last week I couldn't do any SCP streaming. There was some stuff in the way for that, but now we are back again. Shady's back. Well, Afro's back in this case, and looks like some people are busy because usually there will be more hopping in right now, but that's fine. It happens. I'm gonna just notify some other people then, just to be sure. Here we go. Just let's see who wants to join in. Liam, yeah, Liam doesn't work. That doesn't work. Damn. Oh well. I hope the audio of the background audio is not too loud, but that should all be fine. Okay. Without further awaiting, I think we shall begin. Because if nobody joins, then that's just how it is today. Sometimes you have days where nobody can join in on a stream, which is, it happens. SCP-750, a different outlook on life. It's safe. Pretty decent. What the fuck is this painting? Like I seen the little contact lens there, but then I saw that and I was like, I'm not sure if I am okay with what we're about to read, even though it is considered safe. It is considered safe. So maybe I shouldn't do that. Shouldn't do that on here. Shouldn't do all my private stuff on here. Wait, hold on. Didn't expect that answer, but that's I think I need that. Let me just tell her. Let me tell a friend. I'm just trying to get some attention out there. This should lead to me, right? Oops. It didn't. Alright, that was my last attempt. Let's just start reading. Okay, safe. Special containment procedures. SCP-750 presents no threat unless applied directly to your human eye, and so shall be kept in Dr. Langley's office until all relevant tests and studies are completed. All instances of SCP-750 are to be removed from the previous user after testing has been completed, whereafter they are to be cleaned and returned to the included case. Curse me and my need to grow as a Twitch streamer. Here we go. SCP-750 is a group of 24 contact lenses designed presumably to correct myopic or hypermetropic vision. Speaking of vision, this shit's dirty as fuck. Where's my box? Here's my box. There we go. When a pair of SCP-750 is applied, they attach to the cornea and become unable to be removed physically by the wearer, though others can still remove them. Users of SCP-750 report an immediate blurring of their vision after application, followed by a period of extreme dizziness. When a user recovers from this daze, they describe a change in perception. Much better. This change seems to worsen with time, and prolonged exposure to the object will cause a wearer to permanently suffer the noted effects of SCP-750, even when the item has been removed from the cornea, in addition to affecting the wearer's sense of touch, smell, hearing, and taste. The only method of treatment at this point is to sever the optic nerve of the affected don't do that, please. Please don't do that. No, I don't even want to imagine. Something about, like, you know, the fact that eyes are so squishy always makes me worried. What if one day I wake up and I accidentally just bonk my eye against the bedside table, and it's like right at the sharp edge, and it's just like what if that's the case? You know, I'm not sure. Nah. I wish over the time of evolution that our eyes actually learn how to become more hardened than just being squishy balls. Personnel exposed to SCP-750 have reported the following alteration to the vision. Man-made walls, ceilings, and floors being covered in substance described similar to biofilm. Okay, well. Biofilm is a complex structure of microbiome having different bacterial colonies. Oh. Okay. The sky being a dark red color with clouds always appearing to be black. Food items instead resembling a collection of dismembered human limbs, organs, and viscera. Visions of small insects emerging from pores on their skin. Okay. Okay, calm down. This is the first one we're reading today, and it's already making me a bit nauseous. I just ate tacos, man. Viewed written language becoming an unidentified language. Works of art changing, paintings depict violent scenes from human history, and statues become depictions of unworldly creatures not identifiable with any known species. Dr. Blank, as depicted by a subject exposed to SCP-750 for several hours. So that's supposed to be a human being that they're looking at. Oh, that is... Like, it's a drawing, so imagine for him, like, he saw a realistic looking beast that was bleeding and dripping all over the place. In addition, those affected will react with violent revulsion to other human beings, as well as ignoring any attempt to engage in interpersonal conversion or communication. Prolonged exposure to SCP-750 can and has resulted in schizophrenia, PTSD, dissociative identity disorder, and antisocial personality disorder. Yeah, fair enough. With the things that they see, yeah, that's very fair. Honestly, I can see why that would be a problem. Addendum. SCP-750 was discovered by Dr. Blank after he ordered a pair of X-ray specs from a back page and an ad. Wait, from a back page ad and add-in issue. number blank of blank blank magazine, and instead received a case containing SB750. The case also contained a page of instructions which are transcribed below. Hey, true believers. Sorry. I had to think of Stan Lee. Man, what a man. Thank you for ordering your new amazing seafood specs, fresh from your friends here at the factory. Included within is your purchase, a lifetime guarantee, and a phone number to contact us should your friends get jealous and want the same power you got now. Wondering exactly how your new eyes work? Simple. Just take one of the included lenses and get them real good and close to your old peepers. Your new purchase will take over from there. Have fun, wow, amaze your friends with new ability to see through their lies. Zippy, show off at school, no teacher can hide anything from you anymore. Amazing, discover secrets, find hidden treasures, know the unknowable, anything is possible for you now. And there's a very, very, very small text that says, refunds not guaranteed, warning, gazing directly at the truth may cause you to reconsider your miserable existence, use with caution. Note, the phone number and guarantee mentioned above were not included in Dr. Blank's ordered case. That's a good sign. That's a good sign when it's like, oh, if you have a problem, just call us. And there's like no phone number. So you're like, okay, yeah. How am I supposed to do that, Mr. Genius? And then after a while, you know, putting your thought behind it, be like, how am I supposed to contact you? You're like, oh, I got scammed. That's, of course. Naturally. That's how it happens. Organ eater. Well, ain't that just pleasant? That just sounds like fun. It's Euclid. Well, we're stepping it up. Man, I'm itchy today. Gotta say. Okay, SCP-751 is to be kept in a hermetically sealed container with a volume of 1 cubic meter. The container must be maintained at high humidity, and nutrients detailed in document 751-A are to be injected into the container on a daily basis. If a containment breach occurs, all on-site personnel to be awakened and the sprinkler system filled with a high concentration saline solution and activated. Once SCP-751's body is located, it is to be disposed of according to standard Euclid disposal procedure. Description: SCP-751 is an amorphous parasite that feeds off of the organs of humans and other mammals. It weighs approximately 2 kilograms before infesting a host and can weigh as little as 25% of this after reproduction. The majority of SCP-751's mass consists of an unknown substance with a gelatin-like consistency with red veins running through it. Ugh. I imagine it kind of is like the blob, just this like gelatin mass, but it has veins, and it's just like after you. Analysis has revealed that the veins contain a mix of blood from its progenitor host, along with varying anesthetics and immune suppressive drugs. A full list of these chemicals is available in document 751-C. SCP-751 lives in. I now realize I can't see who, like, if anybody hosts me or anything else. I can. I just need to do this. Yeah, it's all good. SCP-7. Oh my god, why is my hand hurting now? SCP-751 lives in the damp environments such as freshwater bodies of water, swamps, rainforests, and sewers. It will leave these environments when in search of a host, traveling for a maximum of 12 hours before succumbing to dehydration. SCP-751 has been observed to move through sewer pipes, water lines, and across most terrains, with the notable exception of sand and bodies of salt water. Yeah, okay, so anything that dehydrates, basically, is not good. It is theorized that SCP-751 hunts potential hosts by detecting carbon dioxide and octanol, although this is unconfirmed as of blank blank blank. So as long as you're breathing, you will know that you're around. That's reassuring. But I wonder how fast it is. It says it travels for 12 hours, but it doesn't say how fast it travels. I guess it travels faster when it's surrounded by water. But I imagine it doesn't get pretty far on land, and it doesn't even try on sand anyway. So I imagine on land it's just like it literally just like it's slime, it's gelatin, so it probably just like, you know, I should stop making sounds. I imagine the water, it's just like kind of like swims the same way as like bacteria swims in when you like, or moves, you know, like it's just like this like whoa, whoa, whoa. SCP-751 begins its feeding process by settling on top of a sleeping host's stomach region and begin to enter through the skin by osmosis. Glad it's osmosis, it's not the Matrix weird insect that just like goes through your belly. That always gave me like the shivers. The thing just going through the belly button. Anesthetics in SCP-751's veins mix with the host's blood at this time, minimizing the chance of the host awakening during the process. Once within the host's body, SCP-751 comes to rest inside the stomach, quickly shaping itself to line the gastric walls. Over the course of the next 2 or 3 hours, SCP-751 adapts its own composition to closely match that of the host's stomach, maintaining digestive processes. When the host awakens, there's little or no evidence of any incident, and the host will continue on its normal routine. Over the next 3 to 4 days, SCP-751 will digest the host's stomach, using it to build up its own mass for further expansion. Of course it does. I feel like now that I've reached the 750s, sometimes when an SCP does something, it is messed up, but part of me just goes like, of course it does. Like, why not, you know? Like, the fact that it eats the stomach, that's, of course, that's naturally. But then, like, oh, because it wants to grow, I'm like, yes. Naturally, of course, obviously. Indubitably, it will then slowly expand to engulf and digest other organs in the host's body. Generally starting with the intestines and moving to the liver, kidneys, and lungs. SCP-751 will adapt itself to mimic each of these organs in turn, maintaining all of the host's bodily function and releasing immune suppressant chemicals to prevent rejection by the host. I was wondering like if the host would be dead by then, but now we know it keeps the host alive. But my question is why? Why is it replacing? Is it so it can move around after, like, so like the host can move around and not feel any different until it finds a new person, and then it's like oh, now I can just like plop out. The entire process takes approximately 1 month in human host and longer in large hosts. After its feeding period, SCP-751 reverts back to its original composition in a matter of minutes. This process lowers SCP-751's density considerably, causing it to swell to a size that the host body cannot contain. The host's skin will stretch and then burst, releasing SCP-751. At this point, SCP-751 will reproduce, dividing into 10 to 20 small entities. Yeah, it's basically like as I said, didn't say that, but it's, as I mentioned, kind of like a bacteria, just like an amoeba. What's it called? Yeah, I can't even type correctly. Yeah, amoeba. Amoeba? Yeah, I assume that's the one I'm talking about. And it's split. Which can move to the nearest damp area to grow in preparation of hunting for their own host. And then the request to experiment with modifying SCP-751 for use in organ transplant approved by it was approved? Why would you experiment with modifying? Okay, I mean, honestly, yeah, I can see why. Like, if you want to keep mentioning approved, why? I guess if you, the only thing I can see this if you want to take an organ out from somebody, but you don't want them to be dead. So like a D class, for example, you can give this SCP to a D class and wait till it eats the stomach, and then you can take out like lungs and the kidneys and the heart and all that stuff, and then this thing can just like become these things, these organs, or they replace the organs for a little while until you have an actual organ to put in, and then you take the SCP out while you put the actual organ in. I assume that's what they mean, but it's still it's a bit you know. I'm not sure if I agree with this idea that you give this thing that purposely eats organs. I mean, the only way for it to, actually become an organ is if once it eats an organ. So you kind of, I mean, I guess the only way I can see this work is you want somebody to survive. They have one organ. It's pretty bad. It has some sort of disease, and they're about to die, but you don't want them to die. So you let the SCP in, and then it just like eats the whole organ, and then just stays in there, and then you can get another organ yourself, and you just do some surgery in there, and then I don't know. I'm just spitballing. I assume that's the purpose, because otherwise I don't see how they would want to make this work. Okay, bit of a longer one, but not much longer. Altruistic utopia. Man, we went from safe to Euclid to Keto. It's just the same way as we did in, I believe that was the same case with the 740s, right? Safe, Euclid, Keto. Yeah, same. It was the same. It's the same scale. Okay. Altruistic utopia. Let's see what you have to offer. Areas 752-1 through -4 have been constructed around the 4 known entrances to SCP. By the way, Keithman, welcome to Fluff. Welcome to the stream right now. Glad you're joining me. As you can see, a lot of people are not here. not the same amount as usual, which is fine. But I'm glad somebody is here, because I'm not sure how fun it would be for me to read this for 2 hours and have absolutely nobody to bounce out of. Bounce somebody off from. That's the correct sentence. No personnel are permitted to enter SCP-752, although unmanned infiltration missions using technology taken from inside SCP-752 are permitted. In the event of an uncontrollable containment breach, Protocol Shangdu 47 must be implemented. Otherwise, termination is not advised, as it could lead to release of -1 in the event of failure. Okay, so it's an SCP you should not try to kill, or try to terminate, as they say. That must suck. Imagine like you have an SCP that's Keto level, but you're not allowed to kill it if it goes out of control. You have to contain it as much as possible. You can't just be like, oh well. No, you can't. You have to actually keep it as much under control as you can, as it is possible for them to do. Captured and instances of -1 must be transported to Site 17 for questioning and examination, under no circumstances allowed to return to SCP-752. Instances of -1 I found approaching any of the 752 sites are to be terminated on site. That sounds so draining. Yeah, I mean this whole foundation is draining. But yeah, I feel like there's one thing of having SCP that you have no idea how to kill it, and you try different things, and you have to keep trying, because then at least eventually maybe you find something, but then after a while you just give up because you're like, oh, okay, I can't kill it, it's impossible. But with one that you're not allowed, well, it must suck, because you're like, oh yeah, if we try to kill it, it just makes it worse. SCP-752 is an underground city in the northern Blank Mountains, spanning, that's a triple-digit number, square kilometers, damn, Population approximately 10,000. An array of electric lighting devices powered by a geothermal generator create day and night matching the rhythm of the outside world. A shield built of an unknown metal surrounds the entire city and blocks all known signals and radiation, including sonar. Study of this metal is restricted to on-site effort to minimize the chances of containment breach. -1 are the inhabitants of SCP-752. Physically, -1 appear human. However, the social behavior exhibited by -1 in large groups bears no resemblance to that of humans or any other social mammal, although parallels exist in ants and other social insects. Individuals of -1 possess no self-interest whatsoever and are motivated solely by desire to advance the greater good. Hot fuss. The greater good of SCP-752. Stop that! -1 currently possess technology significantly more advanced than exists outside of SCP-752. However, the rate of progress has begun to stagnate. Where my phone at? I want to check with some friends why they're not joining. If they... Okay. Shame. It is indeed Ashheim. Documents are covered. Sergeant Angel is for the it's for the greater good. The greater good. Stop that. Documents recovered at the site indicate that SCP-752 was constructed blank years ago by a group of unidentified scientists and philosophers operating under the alias Eudaimon. -1 was engineered by Eudaimon as an attempt to create an ideal society. Okay, what kind of Digimon is this, eh? So we have document 3, recovered from site -1. Day 1, Eudaimon Alpha 1, population of Eudaimonia 100. What a glorious new day. This is the day Homo Eudaimonia will set their calendar by. After the last battery of mass testing, we introduced 50 males and 50 females to the final testing area. Nothing but them, the artificial sun, the temple, and the few animals and plant species we introduced for domestication. Nothing left for Eudaimon now but to observe. Document 7. Recovered from site -3. Year 8, day 24. Eudaimon Gamma 1. Population of Eudaimonia 124. Population growth has been above normal as expected from our eudaimoniacs. Instead of competing, they cooperate with one another in everything. All of the animal species provided have been successfully domesticated for food and labor. No signs of agricultural activity yet. Technological progress is proceeding as expected based on the data we left for them in the temple. Well, so over 8 years after they put the experiment together? Yeah, from the looks of it. Because now we have year 15. And this thing, yeah, as it says before, documents that that indicate that this SCP was created like in triple digits years ago. So this is from like way back then. Year 15, day 12, Eudaimon Delta 4, population of Eudaimonia 170. They grow very slowly, don't they? I mean, like 15... Okay, 15 years is not a lot of time, to be fair. That's fair enough. Not a lot of time for... I mean, okay, but then they are humanoid looking, right? If I recall that correctly. They appear humans, but they're not. So... I wonder if they grow the same rate as we do, or if they grow faster. If they have like the elf logic, like the grown adult, or actually no, the elf is the other way around, like the Croco logic, where they're like a grown adult with like 3 years old. Yeah, they don't have any. They don't have mammal social abilities, but look human. Yeah, it looks like it. Growth has continued showing marked deviance from normal human social behavior, whereas Homo sapiens were never intended to live in groups of more than a few hundred. H. eudaimonia will function perfectly in groups of thousands or millions. Agriculture going at full tilt now, making use of the available aquifers for irrigation. deviant behaviors have begun to emerge. The taboo against cannibalism seems to have vanished, and dead euphomaniacs are being consumed for sustenance. Well, that might be also a reason why they're not growing in population. If they eat each other, that might be a big reason why that's happening. Additionally, disabled or feeble individuals are suiciding or being killed at a worrying rate. Beta 1 wants to interfere, try to lay down more guidelines, but Alpha 1 insists that finding these things repulsive is one of the problems with our society, and any interaction could taint the eudomaniacs. Technological development is proceeding significantly faster than estimated rates. Construction has begun on several structures of unknown purpose, an interesting development considering that no actual buildings previously existed in Eudomania. Fresh meat? Well, and I guess from their perspective, yes. Recover from site. This document 70. So, man, wait, what was the last one? 22. So, okay, now we have in those 9 years. Okay, look at this. From year 8 to year 15. So, in 7 years, we got at least 15 documents. But from year 15 to year 24, in 9 years, so 2 years extra, we got at least 48 documents. So a lot must have happened throughout those couple of years, because it's more than double. I want to know all of what happened. I'm pretty sure a lot must have been like a couple like growing. Weird behavioral thing, right? Now the population is 300, and this was from side 2, which we have never seen. Okay, so now every side has had. That's another thing. Document 70, is that document 70 overall, like from overall all the documents, like from each, like from like document from all the sites? Or is that document 70 from side 2 alone? You know what I mean? Like, does document 70 include side 1 to 4? Or is document 70 just the 70th document from side 2 only? Because that would have a whole different meaning. Because that would mean that but I personally think it's all of them included. But if it isn't, population growth has suddenly exploded, nearly doubling in less than a decade. Presumably, this increase is related to the structures. Some other extremely worrying behaviors have begun to emerge. The eudomaniacs have developed a meritocracy caste system and are forcing the strongest and least intelligent to build for them. No, not forcing. The workers do it voluntarily, but they're working themselves to death. In fact, everybody in this society is being worked to death. Estimated life expectancy is about 45, and we proved in the initial testing that eudomaniacs can live to 150 easily. No signs of cultural development so far, except that they built the vague hints of a divine creator called the eudaimon into a brutally strict moral system. On the bright side, they take into heart the idea that one day the eudaimon will come back for them and lead them to another world, as we intended. We've been calling these odd behaviors deviant, but they're not. This society has no deviance. All innovation is judged based on its merits and implemented or discarded. I'm starting to have serious doubts about the value of this whole thing. Alpha 1 and his team of geneticists seem oddly unsurprised by these developments. I bet they knew this would happen. And now, okay, here we go. Year 40, they almost year 41 actually, but they 325. And now we're back at site 1. So, as you can see, now it's 1,000. Having these doubts, having these doubts 24 years in, I can see wanting out of this. Yeah, I feel like after 24 years and then all this stuff happens, you're like, Also, I need to look up what the word altruistic means again, because I feel like I'm misunderstanding it. Showing disinterest and selfless concern for the well-being of others. Unselfish. Okay, okay, so they care. Okay, gotcha. So in 40 years, they now reached 1,000 people. Population continues to climb. Technological prowess continues to increase exponentially. At this rate, they will reach our level well before the release date. Beta, Gamma, and Delta have no vision. They grow increasingly disgusted by my wonderful creation. Okay, so here's the thing. Now we know that Eudaimon Alpha and Beta, Delta, and Gamma, these are all documents written by different people. Because now we can see that he's writing about the other ones and saying, oh, they don't understand my vision. And how Beta was like, not sure, like Alpha seems to have known all this. So now I'm back to what I was saying. Maybe this is document 142 from side 1 alone. So because it would make sense, right? Because all Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and Delta are writing for themselves. They are writing for what they see at their side. Doesn't mean that they're not writing the same amount. It could be that they're all writing at the same pace. Like they have like a specific date where they have to write a report. But also now we know that each one means it's different. It's an individual document. I would never have taken them to the project, but I needed the expertise to construct the development chamber. I have taken measures to ensure they never discover the concept of Eudomania's nurseries. Hopefully this will be sufficient to forestall a mutiny. Lexi, hey, welcome to Fluff. True, if there weren't a lot of big events, they wouldn't have had so much to write about, right? D&D day, but lurking. Ah, that's what it was. Yeah, you have D&D on Saturday. You told me. I'm so sorry. I completely forgot. Me and Keepman will keep on talking between each other. But yeah, you're right. I feel like if not much is happening in those 40 years, then you wouldn't have so much to write about. But I think it's like, it definitely must be like a given. Hold on now. If I might be okay. 40 years. How could I do the math behind this? Yes, 40 times 12. Okay. So it's not every month. Okay. Let's do 142 divided by 40. So every year they do 3 reports. I think that's correct. So probably like they do like 4 months pass and then write a report of what's been happening, maybe. Okay. Document. Now this is a big boy. Okay, so 30 years later, we have now document 314 by Delta. Population of Germany 3,000. So in the 30 years, they grew times 3. Population growth shows no signs of slowing. High-rise type shelters are now being constructed in addition to the unknown buildings to allow for further growth. Technological advancement continues to exceed all expectations. We can only hope that it will stagnate once they get through what we left in the temple. Undesirable behaviors have worsened. Gamma attempted to intervene and was slaughtered. Oh. The rest of us attempt a coup against Alpha. Okay, so Alpha has been going nuts. Alpha 3 pretended to sympathize and managed to fatally poison most of Beta. Okay. Nevertheless, the coup was a success. We still don't know what's in those buildings, but considering what happened to Gamma, we're not touching it. Alpha 1, 2, and 5 escaped. The others are dead or captured. We disabled the release mechanism and sealed off the place as much as we dare. The Eudomaniacs still believe that there is no world beyond that shield Gamma built. Now hopefully they'll never learn otherwise. Unmanned exploration unit 752-A was sent into SCP-752 on blank blank 2000 blank. Footage recovered from within the nursery structures indicates an extensive and apparently voluntarily data expunged before conception. UEU 752-A went offline, blank hours into the expedition, and within 2 months technology evidently derived from it was seeing extensive use in SCP-752. Further expedition must use a little advancement technology as possible. As direct competition between Homo sapiens and -1 is projected to lead to an SK-class dominance shift, -1 must be kept ignorant of the world outside the cavern at all costs. Damn, okay. That got slightly a bit out of hand, didn't it? So this group of people are just on the ground. Well, not group of people, just a smidge. Well, not a group of people, a group of creatures to be more exact, are now on the ground, have no idea about our world. But yeah, as the Foundation said, if they do, they might have like a whole competition of who's the top of the food chain, and that might, you know, go horribly wrong. Especially since, you know, they kind of grew to our level pretty quickly. So if they learned about our world, they would really quickly adapt to it, and then it might even like change it, improve it, make it worse, who knows, whatever they desire. That must, yeah, but as I was saying before, that must suck to not be able to just blow it up. So now we have automatic artist. Back to safer. Ooh, that looks cool. That looks dope. Look at that. Yeah, being unable to just destroy it and having to just learn with it. Yikes. Okay, let's we're back to save. The ratings are pretty solid so far. Like they all have been over 100 except Organ Eater. That was like under 100, but honestly, I feel like Organ Eater deserves to be at least like just a smidge over 100, you know? Not like 200 like the first one, but I feel like Organ Eater deserves to be over 100. SCP-753 is currently contained at Sector 28, located on blank blank. SCP-753 is to be contained in a 6 meters squared holding cell monitored by surveillance cameras at all times. SCP-753 is to be provided with 5 liters of each primary color of paint each day. 5 liters? That is a lot. That's a lot of paint. Every day? Along with 24 standard painting canvases. All paintings created by SCP-753 are to be recorded by research staff. In the event that SCP-753 attempts to destroy itself, security personnel are to restrain SCP-753 and await further orders from research staff present. No! You're such a good artist! Don't do it! Image of SCP-753 taken from Marshall Collin Dog. It's fucking Marshall Collin Dog. Oh boy. The Factory, One Entertainment, and Marshall Collin Dog. 5 years every dang day? Every dang day, bro. This guy is like, he's like Bob Ross, but he's like constantly, he's on the grind, he's on the, so if you take a jock, you take a jock who's just on the grind, you know, constantly, no pain, no gain, just grind set, you know, but you make it, but he's Bob Ross, and he just non-stop just painting, like, happy little trees, happy little mountains. Done. That's one. Happy little trees. There's a little lake right here. Some snow. Done. Okay. Happy clouds. just non-stop. He has 24 stand-up painting canvas. He basically is drawing and painting every hour, all day, every day. Happy little accidents, that's all. Happy little trees. Happy little accidents. And then once there's no canvas and no paint, then he goes, what's the point of living? He tries to kill himself. SCP-753 is a highly advanced automaton, approximately 10 centimeters across, 6 centimeters wide, and 8 centimeters tall. That's very small. So, 10 centimeters across. So it's like this, I would say, around this. 6 centimeters wide, so this, and 8 centimeters tall. Yeah, it's like basically like just that. Yeah. I'll burn this place to the ground if I don't get my paint. Listen, where's the ink? Where's the paint? It's coming soon, boss. Just calm down. Soon is not fast enough. SCP-753 possesses 2 pincer-like limbs protruding from its main circular body, which it uses to slowly move itself across the ground. I mean, I see 3 though. This is likely due to SCP-753's locomotive functions having been damaged to an unknown point in its history. At the center of SCP-753's body is a red sensory organ similar in structure to that of a human eye. SCP-753's eye appears to be organic, but it is likely artificial produced. This eye is also damaged, leaving SCP-753 partially blind. A martial call and dog... what does actually LTD mean again? What does it mean again? Limited. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Duh. Logo has been engraved on SCP-753's back. Martial Colin Dog, man. These motherfuckers always causing some... They always cause like the weirdest mechanical or SCPs that like are just like... It's like... Most of them are just gritty and dark, you know. I mean, this one, it likes to... It likes to paint, but like at the same time, they also made that one thing that that for some reason makes cannibalistic food. So you know, the balance is not really there. Interior analysis of SCP-753 shows that it moves using a rudimentary nervous system, coordinated by an extremely small spherical brain. Above SCP-753's body is a small receiver, the purpose of which is currently unknown. SCP-753 appears ignorant of its surroundings and does not recognize the presence of personnel. SCP-753's primary purpose appears to be the creation of paintings. Paintings produced by SCP-753 are highly realistic and often do not correspond to real location. Recently, paintings created by SCP-753 have mostly involved in some way SCP-7... Wait, what? Recently, paintings were created by SCP-753 have mostly involved in some way SCP-753's death. SCP-753 was initially returned to Martial Color and Dog Limited by one of the clients who complained that it was broken. Blank, a foundation mole within the organization, was able to retrieve SCP-753s before incineration. Speaking of which, Keithman, let me do something for you right now. Give me one single word, or 2 words. Vanish. Okay. Now I will tell you some art styles, and you can pick one. I'm not gonna tell you all of them because there's quite a lot, but I will tell you the ones I would be interested in. There's provenance, mystical, dark fantasy, psychic, vibrant, steampunk, synthwave, fantasy art. Pick one of those styles, please. I can write it down if you if it's hard to keep them all in your head. Steampunk, gotcha. Okay, let's create. Alright, I'll download this picture. Download the original. I'll put it on Discord for myself. There we go. Download it off Discord. And let me quickly add an image. Here you go. Oops. Oops, come on. Here it is. That's yours now. The moment you said vanish, I was like, I really wonder how this app will make vanish into an art form, or how you draw vanish. But I mean, it looks pretty dope, I would say. So yeah, I'll send it to you also onto your Discord as well. Here we go, Keatman. Alright, just wanted to do that real quick. Let's go on. SCP-753 usually produces 1 painting per hour. I fucking told you. When SCP-753 is not provided with adequate paint or painting canvas, it appears to enter a dormant state, shutting down for a minimum time length of 1 week. So wait, hold on. It appears to... Okay. As this heavily impedes research, SCP-753 is to be kept stocked with paint and canvases at all times. SCP-753 does not appear to be concerned about completed paintings and generally ignores them after they are finished. And then now we have a painting log. So here we go. 1 a.m. Image of an ocean. Water is observed as being red in color. Unidentified aquatic creature bearing resemblance to a platypus is jumping out of the water. Close inspection reveals that SCP-753 is being crushed in its jaw. Oh no, we have the complete opposite of Bob Ross. While he paints just as much as Bob Ross, he just draws himself being killed. We have a depressed Ross. Honestly, mood. 2:24 a.m. Image of a lit furnace. Unidentified red humanoid is climbing out of the furnace. SCP-753 is visible inside the furnace. 3:14 a.m. Image of a human eye against a starry background. SCP-753 is drifting towards the eye, which is observing it. Okay, that doesn't seem suicidal, but that does seem very abstract. Very abstract art. 4:21 a.m. Image of a city. City appears to be constructed from web and populated by giant spiders. SCP-753 is visible trapped in a web with a spider moving towards it. God damn, this guy really wants to just die, doesn't he? 5:11 a.m. Image of a nuclear explosion. Silhouette resembling SCP-753 is visible in the explosion. 6:02 a.m. Image of SCP-753's containment area. SCP-753 appears to have shut down. Research Assistant Blank is inspecting SCP-753. Close analysis shows that Research Assistant Blank lacks eyes. Okay, that's a bit dark. 6:59 a.m. Image of Sector 28 disposal facility. Maintenance worker Blank is activating the incinerator. SCP-753 is visibly among the waste. Dude, this SCP has no chill. Literally just draws him. You know, like how like people say you shouldn't watch too much true crime in a row because it just messes up your mental psyche. Because like while it's interesting to like learn how crazy some people are in this world, if you keep on watching this kind of stuff, you just end up in this like depressive state of like I live in a world with these types of people, and I can't believe we ever let this happen in our world, and so on and so forth. If that's not how you get affected in some way or another, and it's most of the time not really healthy. So I imagine like it's the same with him. Like after like drawing yourself dying over and over again, like that just must make his mentality like just really in shambles. 7:42 image of a restaurant. Patrons are pointing at a chandelier which has fallen from the ceiling. SB753 is visible under the chandelier. It will affect you in a big way. It definitely will. 8:35 a.m. Image of a cottage. A man is walking towards the cottage holding an axe and a smashed SB753. Also, how many times can you like draw yourself dying before you get like? I know that it's an automatron, but like after a while you gotta be creeped out by yourself a little bit, right? For like constantly like drawing yourself dying in different ways. If not by yourself, at least you definitely gonna creep out everybody else. 9:27 a.m. Image of the desert. A creature resembling a six-legged wolf is in the process of destroying SB753. 10:12 a.m. Image of a forest. Indistinct human figures are visible hanging from nooses. Notably, SB753 appears to be absent from the painting. Oh. Okay, that's a first. 11:02 a.m. Image of a forest. Indistinct human figures are no longer hanging but on the ground, looking directly forward. One is holding a crushed SCP-753 in its fist. 12:29 p.m. Image of an indistinct human face holding SCP-753 forward. Indistinct human face appears to be registering anger. This one fascinates me. I wonder why it wants to die so bad. Like, it almost feels like there's a potential, like, an actual soul in there. And it seems to like just crave death because like it might be suffering. Oops, sorry. Also, the fact that his eye is damaged, but is damaged, and he's supposed to be a bit partly blind. He's doing a good job of still being able to draw. Maybe just once out of the loop, it's kind of stuck in. Yeah, right. I think, yeah. You know what it is? I feel like every time it has painting in front of it, it is forced to draw, and it probably doesn't want to. That's why like it shuts down when it doesn't do anything, and that's probably the closest thing it gets to like just peace and sleeping. You know, now that I think about it, the Foundation did say they kept giving paint to it, so that it would always have something to do, and only recently did it decide to draw him dying. So I feel like peace and sleep is all I want. Too, yeah. So I feel like the reason why he's drawing himself dying over and over again is because he's like constantly being forced to draw, and he just wants to just stop. I feel like it's in a way communicating to the Foundation by saying like, hey, please stop. If you guys are making me do this, I just want to sleep. You are forcing me to think that I want to die. That's why like one of the doctors didn't have eyes in one of the paintings, because he's like, he probably harbors a lot of hatred towards them. And he's trying to get them angry at him, so maybe that they destroy him by drawing himself dying. that's just a guess. I'm not really quite sure. Illustrated climbing vine. I honestly hope it's finds peace. It sounds just miserable. Yeah, I mean, as long as the foundation keeps putting paint in front of it, it probably won't. But maybe one day the foundation will be like, oh yeah, maybe we should. There's nothing else to learn. Like it just paints. Like it said, like oh, the fact that it shuts down. It makes the research difficult. I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, it's not really doing anything else except drawing. It's not like one day it's just gonna do a miracle and I don't know, when the drawings come alive. You know what I mean? Like it's just all it does is draw. So so this is Euclid. Request for Kita classification on the review 2000 blank blank blank. Special containment procedure. SB754 is to be kept under constant surveillance in a biohazard containment chamber. The room must be equipped with a liquid nitrogen emergency coolant system. A shallow planter of standard potting soil has been placed next to SB754 to provide a target zone for germination events. No instances of SB754 are to be retained outside of use in sanctioned experiments. Material containing -1 may be incinerated. And here we have SB754 rendered in pencil and crayon. Dispose of SB754. The room must be sealed and liquid nitrogen piped in until the ambient temperature has been at below 150 Kelvin for a minimum of 15 minutes. SB754 or any surrounding soil in all instances of -1 shall be incinerated, save one paper fragment of approximately 25 square centimeters, which is to be treated as seed stock with a freshly illustrated sheet. If SB754 germinates from a location other than the provided planter, the site should be sterilized with hydrochloric acid. Ooh. In the event of containment system failure of SB754, its growth will be inhibited by temperatures below 250 Kelvin until automated systems are restored. One standard sheet of paper with hand-drawn illustration is to be placed on the table as needed. Current procedure call for the replacement and disposal of the oldest illustration and once the newer sheet shows evidence of buds at the current rate of growth. Replacement should occur every 2 to 3 days. If this rate is observed to increase, notify the level 3 supervisor as of 2000 blank blank blank. Dr. Cairns. Under no circumstances are any SCP objects containing hand-drawn illustrations to be allowed within 20 meters of -1. Description: SB754 is a superficially similar to convolvulus ovinus, a flowering vine commonly known as morning glory. I'm too childish to not laugh at that. Or field bindweed in North America. Its leaves and vine are red with delicate black veins. Flowers, when present, are red with black mottling. SB754 will propagate in a manner similar to bindweed. However, it can overgrow any object, including those typically resistant to plant growth and water too deep for root stabilization. It can attain a top growth of blank meters per hour. It is inhibited by temperatures below 250 Kelvin -23 degrees and enters a dormant state when chilled below 150 Kelvin -123 degrees Celsius. I know there's a lot of SCPs, but I think the intelligent plants kind of creep me out the most. Yeah, I feel like what from the SCP types that creep me out the most. I think it's buildings. Buildings that have a mind of its own. Because at the end, like, I feel like plants that that can think have been already done in media. But like a building that can think, I mean, unless you talk about the Monster House, I don't think there's many buildings like that. Or Baba Yaga's chicken house. I don't think there's many buildings like that. SCP-754 is not limited to normal growth patterns and can grow in paper media as an illustration designated as -1. It manifests itself as an additional image in hand-rendered illustration, indistinguishable from the original contents in terms of medium, style, and scale. -1 will propagate through the white space remaining on the material, as well as overgrowing illustrated objects. But yeah, buildings also... I love Monster House, but buildings also kind of creep me out. Yeah, Monster House was great. Good stuff. Good childhood stuff, you know. The growth rate is constant in the scale of the illustration. Consequently, the linear spread across the material is not constant and depends on the illustration. -1 can also propagate to other illustrations within 15 meters radius of the original medium. The time required to do so decreases with proximity and physical contact. Illustrations containing -1 demonstrate a mild mind-affecting property. Individuals below 80 on the psychic resistance scale will insist that -1 has always been present in the illustration, and those below 90 on the psychic resistance scale will be reluctant to destroy SCP-754 unless prompted to or trained. Illustrations containing -1 will animate and change in response to the growth of -1. Illustrations appear to be moving at 1/10, 0.1 times. Okay, 0.1 times speed slow motion. It has not been determined if this occurs as a stop motion effect or as a constant movement. Volitional beings depicted in the illustration will react to -1 and utilize other depicted objects as appropriate. The most common reaction observed is the attempt by individuals in the illustration to restrict or directly impede the growth of -1. When let me just sit a bit more comfortable. When no white space remains on any illustration and material within range, SCP-754 will germinate within 5 meters of -1. This occurs no more than 3 hours after the complete overgrowth of all white space in range. It will tend to appear where a non-anomalous plant could germinate. SCP-754 instances can be destroyed by incineration. However, any root fragments left intact will be stimulated and cause immediate regeneration of SCP-754 within 6 hours. Additionally, any chordate with mucous membrane contact with the ashes within 12 hours will become a new medium for SCP-754 growth. Further instances of SCP-754 will then erupt from the petechia of the plant. Dormant SCP-754 can be incinerated without inducing incineration. Root fragments must still be destroyed to prevent normal plant regrowth. No side effects have been observed from the incineration of material bearing SCP-754-1. I'm gonna make some talking. Be right back. No problem. Circumstances of retrieval is Addendum 1. SCP-754 was first brought to the attention of the Foundation when police officers in Blank, France, arrested an extremely agitated office worker who was found attacking a courtyard of weeds with a carbon dioxide fire extinguisher. Foundation intervention was required when 45 infestation of -1 subsequently developed in the residential areas. Due to the recommendation made by an office worker in custody, the containment team suffered no casualties. Following interrogation that led to current containment procedures, the captured person of interest was released and amnesticized, though he is under periodic surveillance for future encounters with SCP-754. Addendum 2. After the event of Experiment 7, personnel with figurative tattoos, brandings, or other decorative body modification are forbidden from coming within 20 meters of SCP-754. Safe for participation is approved experimentation. Okay. It's just basically it's just a picture that I wonder, because we have a couple picture SCPs. I wonder. So we have one girl who's like as an SCP that's just a drawing of a girl. So I wonder if she can interact with this one, and also there is an SCP that's a dragon tattoo that eats tattoos. So if I wonder if you could destroy this SCP by letting the dragon tattoo eat it. Maybe. Who knows? Be right back. I'm gonna get myself something to drink so I can stay awake a little bit longer. Also, I should put this giant bottle of lemonade in the fridge now that there's space in there. Cheers, bro. Oh. Those tacos definitely made me thirsty. Nothing good ginger beer cannot fix. Although that's gonna make me just as thirsty, I believe. Watch for the white bird. Not the... What the fuck? Keter containment pending. Oh. So they haven't catched that one yet. Uh-oh. The capture of SCP-755-A is to be considered a K-class priority to all personnel assigned to SCP-755. Should -A be captured alive, all possible efforts is to be made to ensure their compliance as they are to be delivered to Humanoid Detaining Facility 17 for questioning and study. Any and all instances of -B discovered are to be reported immediately to a superior and destroyed, if possible. After encountering an instance of -B, the discovering party is to seek a safe location within view of the instance and to remain observant for their own safety until the arrival of MTF Gamma 30, then to obey any orders or requests for assistance made by the MTF leader at the time. Okay, description. SCP-755-A, hereafter referred to as the Vandal, is a graffiti vandal who is thought at the time of the archiving of this report to be active in San redacted. Yeah. Though the work of the others has been cited in 8 other cities in the continental US and Europe, including Denver, CO, Newark, NJ, Muni redacted. Security footage shows the vandal to be light-skinned individual with a slim build who stands approximately 2 meters in height. That's a tall boy. From the basic body type shown in the footage, it is assumed, though not confirmed, that the vandal is male. The vandal regularly travels large cities, leaving behind instances of -B. -B? What? This ginger beer really hits the burp spot. Hereafter referred to as the graffito, is a graffito style and form varied by instance that invariably reads with incorrect capitalization remaining consistent in all instances. Watch for the white bird. The graffito is typically written directly onto a surface with a marker or paint, or in some recorded instances, list available to personnel with level 3 clearance or higher upon request. Inscribed on scrap material and left in prominent location. The writing materials appear to have no anomalous properties, in several recovered instances are stored for study in the low-risk material sector of Site 93. Persons who read the graffito are invariably injured or killed in apparent accidents involving a white bird of some description. Let me read that one more time. persons who read the graffito are invariably injured or killed in apparent accidents involving a white bird of some description. How big is this bird? Is it like a Lugia style size? Like what? How do they die by? Okay, sure, I'll buy it. Extensive research has confirmed a statistical correlation between the accidents and having read the graffito, and that instance of the phrase written by persons other than the vandal do not correlate with accidents or injuries to any measurable extent. SCP-755 was brought to the attention of the Foundation when an EMT discovered a journal belonging to the late investigative journalist Graham Scott on the scene of the 7-car pileup that resulted in the deaths of Scott and blank other individuals. The journal details Scott's attempt to locate and interview the vandal, who he believed was attempting to warn the victims of the white bird in order to save their lives. Well, well, guys, it was nice knowing y'all. No, of course. I swear to God, if actually an actual white bird shows up now and hurts any of the people that were watching me, I'm never gonna forgive myself. The white bird mentioned the graffito and Scott's writing. Whoa, the white bird? So, from what I understand so far, Keepman, there's a man that's 2 meters tall walking around graffitiing certain surfaces saying, "Watch for the white bird," and whoever reads that, it's attacked or killed by a white bird of some sort of like description. It doesn't have to be the same white bird, it's just a white bird that just ends up injuring or hurting. Injuring and hurting is the same thing. Injuring or killing them. So, as a joke, I took the screen and made it big, and then I zoomed in all the way to this text, and I was like, "Well, guys, it was nice knowing y'all." But then I said, like, I hope nobody actually gets injured by a white bird after this stream, because I'm not sure how I feel about this. I would not be able to forgive myself, but also in the same time, I would be like, so hold on, if this one works, then why didn't 096 work when I saw his face? Well, I didn't actually see his face, but I saw the picture with the pixels supposed to be on it. But yeah, the white bird mentioned in the graffito and Scott's writing has not been confirmed to exist. In many events, no bird can be confirmed to have been involved outside the direct testimony of the injured party, with some or all other witnesses claiming not to have seen any such avian at all, or with eyewitnesses disagree on the positioning, exact coloration, and species of the bird. Addendum 1. Despite Scott's assertions, many Foundation researchers suspect that the vandal's role in the events preceded by viewing the graffito are causal rather than prophetic, and that the vandal seeks to further some agenda of their own, or merely enjoys the thrill of causing suffering and death. In light of this possibility, and given the established correlation between instances of the graffito and injuries or fatalities among otherwise unrelated persons, SCP-755 has been granted Keto level containment required status, and MDF Gamma 30 White Watch has been created to liaise with law enforcement to capture the vandal for study and question and destroy instances of the graffito as they are located. Addendum 2 on redacted appears to have bypassed data expunged, normally for an instance of by graffito, but for the addition of the words "I'm sorry" in a small cursive font. The event was filed as usual by mem data expunged. Document 375. Travers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Sorry about. Oh, he better not have read the white bird line, dude. Well, if this is a plane, then I have to do this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Sorry about the flight delay. I'm sure all you saw the maintenance guys cleaning the graffiti off of the boarding ramp. Now that's all out of the way, we can get ready to take off. It's a beautiful sunny day in LA and weather conditions are absolutely perfect for flying. Captain, as a motherfucker. This is flight 279 to Houston, by the way, so if you aren't supposed to be on board, you should go ahead and disembark while you still can. 21 minutes removed for brevity. This is your captain speaking. I'm sure you all seen the smoke, but don't panic. It's just a bird that got stuck into the engine. It's just a bird that got stuck in the engine, eh? In a moment, the oxygen mask will drop as I prepare for an emergency landing. For those on and follow the flight attendant's instructions, I will have you guys safely on the ground in no time. Again, please do as the flight attendants ask and remain calm. Everything will be just fine. Something tells me nothing was fine afterwards. So yeah, why the fuck would this guy... Come on, why would you ever draw that graffiti on a plane, dude? Like, do you want to cause mass murder? Like, what is wrong with you? Just a simple bird that flew into the engine. Don't worry about it. Okay, well, I mean, watch for the white bird. That was that. Probably one of my more favorite ones, just because how wacky it is. It's definitely a paradox if you think about it. Like, he's basically writing a warning about a white bird that will attack a person, but the white bird would never attack somebody if he didn't write that shit down. So his warning is unneeded because, like, his warning is the reason why it's happening to begin with. Also, it makes me wonder if SB755 were to write something else. I don't know. Beware of the beautiful lady that falls in love with you. Will it then happen? will it happen? Or is he just white bird specific? Miniature solar system. Getting a bit chilly. Where's my Be right back. Keithman, let me ask you something. Have you watched the original Scooby-Doo series from the 60s? Are we reading? A miniature solar system. You could. SCP-756, 10-meter cubed cell is to remain accessible only by airlock. Personnel entering must wear EVAP spacesuits with an MMU if necessary and ensure that they do not move too close to any of the planetoids in orbit. No lights are to be shown on or toward the planetoids, and anything that might be loosely described as a heat source must be kept as far from them as possible. Developments on the surface of each planet are to be examined twice daily by a probe equipped with an electron microscope and a data expunged. Through the recorded footage will have to be played in slow motion in order to make the slightest bit of sense. In the event a planet Force inhabitants attempt to build another satellite weapon. See Incident Report A. Personnel assigned to remove it must remain aware that although missiles fired from the IV service cannot penetrate standard issue spacesuit helmets or visors, weapons platforms will almost certainly fire more quickly than the average human being can move. You there, bro? Let me ask you the question again. Maybe I was a bit quiet before. Have you watched the original Scooby-Doo series from the 60s? SCP-756 is a miniature solar system consisting of a single yellow sun and 6 orbiting planets, each with various moons and satellites. The system is restricted to the confines of a single large cell. Originally... Alright, fresh coffee achieved. That's good. I saw you were gone. You probably didn't hear my question then. My question was if you ever watched the original Scooby-Doo series from the 60s. Because like while I was trying to find this, something popped in my mind. And I have to like talk about it, and I want to like know if you watched the show back then as a child, or if not. But if you didn't, I'm still gonna talk about it anyway. SCP-756 is a miniature solar system consisting of a single yellow sun and 6 orbiting planets, each with various moons and satellites. This system is restricted to the confines of a single large cell, originally intended to SCP blank. The cell itself is now devoid of gravity and atmosphere, a state believed to be brought about by SCP-756 birth. I'm not familiar with it, but please tell me about it. Okay, so I grew up with the original Scooby-Doo show, and when of course like nowadays if you were to watch it, you would be like, oh, it's not that creepy, you know, it's not that creepy. But of course I would say back then for like the 60s cartoons were like, you know, Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry were like the big stuff. That was definitely like very gothic, very spooky, and of course each monster, ghost, ghoul, spirit, whatever they were chasing, they had to they gave them like very distinct sounds. And one of the sounds that just popped in my mind while I was like trying to find this was from the episode when the gang went to an island. There was a hotel, and it said like an uncle or somebody passed away, and if they survived the night at this hotel, they would get all the money. And then everybody slept in different rooms, and then after a while people disappeared, and then we get this green ghost, and then we find out there's 2 of them, and they're constantly laughing while they were chasing people, and their laughter just popped back into my head. And I wanted to like, originally I wanted to add, this sounding familiar to me. So I wanted to ask you like if you had like any of the original Scooby-Doo monsters where like you found like the sound they made like eerie or creepy. The one that creeped me out the most was definitely the space cook. Not what? How this? I forgot how it's said. Like, it's basically this alien guy. He walks around in a spacesuit, but like he has a skull. And then like whenever he walks, it was like this like the best way to describe like this glow sound effect, like this, and then he would laugh. And it's like this high pitched, really quick laugh, right? And that, as a child, like freaked me out the most. Out of all the monsters from Scooby-Doo, I feel like that one had like the freakish design and sound effects followed up with it. Also, Captain Cutler. Captain Cutler is like, well, is also pretty good because like the moans he lets out is pretty dope. Like, because it's like, it's a moan that gets fused in with like the sonar system. Like there's like a good mix of like not UFO, submarine sound effects with his moans in it. Like, and I think that's pretty cool too. So, yeah, just wanted to like talk about that real quick while we go on. SCP-756, yeah, already read that. The system sounds approximately, I think the one I remember most is Creeper, the Frankenstein looking guy. Yeah, like the big hunch guy, and he just goes, Creeper! Classic. Yeah, just green, bigger folks, just like just hunchback over, like, Creeper! Creeper! And he goes, here's the thing, though, like, while for us it probably isn't like that scary to look at that, I'm pretty sure if we saw them in real life and they looked realistically like monsters, like actual like realistic looking, I'm pretty sure people like the Creeper would actually kind of be scary. Because he's like twice your size, and he's like all hunched over and just goes, Creeper! Yeah, I'll be like, okay, yeah, no thank you, I'm good. It's approximately 68 to 70 centimeters in circumference, and is believed to be in the middle of the stages of its existence based on comparison with archive footage. The planet's orbiting in range in circumference from less than 7 centimeters to 28 centimeters. SCP-756 was first discovered on the body of researcher blank blank after it unexpectedly collapsed during a minor cell inspection of blank blank blank. For several hours beforehand, especially in the haunted building, yeah, dude, like haunted building, abandoned building, giant castles, any of that location, and you bump into somebody that's not supposed to be there. Like, honestly, like, Shaggy and Scooby are doing exactly the right thing. They're like, we're booking it, we're getting you out of here. I'm like, yep, absolutely correct. Mr. Blank had been complaining of numerous painful boils on his back. Following his loss of consciousness, a cursory examination showed that these boils were actually minute fragments of rock protruding from his flesh. However, I'm out too, Scoob! However, one boil positioned on the back of Mr. Blank's neck appeared to be emitting intense heat, likely the reason for his collapse. According to instruments situated within the cell, the temperature of this boil climbed from 70 centimeters to above 550 centimeters. By then, that's hot. By then, all witnesses had fled the cell and sealed the airlock behind them, leaving Mr. Blank's incendiary death to be recorded by the security camera. Oh yeah, he got fucking burned to death. Can I just talk about how, like, again, like, you might not be like the biggest like Scooby-Doo fan, so you might not remember all this. There were a lot of witch doctors in Scooby-Doo, in the original Scooby-Doo series. Like, there were a couple too many. I think there were like 4. I'm like, There really were, now that I'm looking at the wiki. Yeah, like there was like there was one that was supposed to like be a dog napper, and then there was the one in like actual like South America, and then I believe there's another one that joined in that was just a recolor of a existing witch doctor monster, and then like, yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was done in the 60s, right? So this was a time where like people were like especially America was like a bit more ignorant around the world themselves, and witch doctors was like a freaky idea. But yeah, there was a couple of them. I think the least scary one was the clown. Even though like clowns can be scary, I think that was like the least scary one for me, because I was like he's all he does is hypnotize the gang. I was like, oh, you do this now. And I was like, okay. And it was ascertained that the heat emerging from the neck boil had stabilized and was not projecting further than 2 meters. Personnel returned to the cell and found that the interior was now a little more than a vacuum contained by reinforced concrete. The neck boil had become a new star, while a small rocky protrusion has begun to form simple planets. Since then, SCP-756 has remained under observation with particular emphasis on the evolution of life in the system. However, it has been observed that both the astronomical bodies and any life forms that may evolve upon them experience time at an accelerated rate. Within a year of SCP-756 formation, the volcanic surface of several planets had given way to oceans, a process that normally would take millions of years. Speaking of creepy sounds from Scooby-Doo, the soundtrack back then was fucking ingenious. like the Running Away soundtrack was like, it's so catchy, and it just makes you want to run too. And then like whenever like they were about to go to like I'm not sure if it was commercial break or just like a break in general, they would have to like I think like a trumpet sound or like some sort of horn, right? So, and then fade out. that was like, it was really well done back then. Like sound effect wise, like animation wise, it probably wasn't like the most like revolutionary. Of course, it was like very simple animation style, but sound mixing, gotta say, they did a pretty good job. Some years later, researchers observing Planet 3 noted formation and collapse of an empire over the course of 10 hours, estimated to measure at least a century in SCP-756 time span. The planet themselves is based on the latest survey of Planet 1, volcanic and far too close to the sun to support life. Planet 2, generally mountainous terrain with a large population of apparent non-sapiens. Planet 3, mostly ocean dwelling with islands of varying biome, presently inhabited by sapient species of nomadic reptilians with religion based on ocean tides, and the unexpected sight of Dr. Blank's helmeted face in the night sky. Yeah, makes sense. Planet 4, primarily composed of data expunged, broken only by what appears to be missile silos and military installations, many of them believed to be covering underground cities. Planet 5, heavily populated with many large settlements built around wildly varying terrains. Unlike 4, the inhabitants have not achieved space travel and as a result are currently at peace. Planet 6, equally hospitable until the events of blank blank blank, see incident report A, and has since reverted to uninhabited wastelands. Addendum: any personnel caught placing glow-in-the-dark stars on the walls of the cells will be reassigned to paperwork. Okay, it's pretty dope. Like it's not like a solar system that's like ours. It's a whole different one, and it's just a very tiny one that occasionally sends out heat waves of 400 or 550 degrees Celsius. Absolute madness, that is. The fruit tree. Isn't it crazy how... Again, I'm sorry I'm stuck on Scooby-Doo right now. Like, Scooby-Doo is my favorite show from my childhood, next to Coach the Cowardly Dog. And some other shows, of course, from Cartoon Network and all that stuff. But it's unbelievable how Scooby-Doo was born in the 60s, and even to this day is still a thing. I mean, the same with like Superman, Batman, Captain America, and Spider-Man, and all that stuff. That was like before Scooby-Doo's time, and it's still popular nowadays. But yeah, it's just crazy how like a show about a talking dog with four humans solving mystery cases that are horror related got so popular that it never faded out. Like, it always, every generation got to witness Scooby-Doo in their life. And how iconic it will become the popular culture. I love it. Yeah, exactly, right? It's crazy. Like it started in the 60s, the 70s continued it, the 80s had probably the weakest time with Scooby-Doo. That was like the 13 Ghosts and all that, and Scrappy-Doo came along and all that. So that's probably not the strongest Scooby-Doo moment. But then like the 90s came with like the really like hardcore movies like Zombie Island, The Witch's Ghost, the one with the aliens. I keep forgetting which one was that called. Cyberspace and all that stuff. That's like, damn, those were good. And then the early 2000s was like some more movies like the one in Australia with the Yahoo, the giant vampire beast basically, and then the Loch Ness Monster. And then in 2006 came What's New Scooby-Doo. And then after a while, Shaggy, Scooby Get a Clue, which was again a bit of the weaker ones because it was like Shaggy and Scooby trying to solve secret agent mission instead of, mysteries. And then Mystery Incorporated, which was like a lot of people's favorites. And then that one weird time when the gang looked like, yeah, I don't even know how to describe it. I always describe them as like if Family Guy decided to animate Scooby-Doo, you know what I mean? Like, but like I'm purposely trying to make it look bad. Yeah, it was a weird time. And now we have Guess Who with Scooby-Doo, which is like this whole thing where guests come along. Like they did that in the 70s as well, where like famous people were involved in episodes and then they voiced themselves and all that stuff. And now they're doing that again, but now with other people. And I think my favorite clip I ever saw was with Mark Hamill. Because Scooby-Doo canonically has fought alongside with Batman. And they caught the Joker, I believe, twice. So when Mark Hamill was involved in the Scooby-Doo episode, and and he's like, "Oh, Mark Hamill, like, it's like it's so great to like get to know you with a Mystery Incorporated," and like, it's like, "Oh, I know who you are." Like, "Oh, really? How come?" It's like, "Oh, I know who you are. You once captured the Joker." It's like, "Oh, how did you know that?" And he's like, "Oh, I have my source." And then he starts laughing like the Joker. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I got something stuck in my throat." And I was just like, "Oh, that is such a brilliant in-joke on so many levels." I'm sorry. Okay. Let's focus. We are last three. Let's get that done. Let's get that done. What was this again? The fruit tree. Safe. SB757 has been transplanted to a garden plot at Biosite 103, which is to be under constant surveillance. Access to SCP-757 requires authorization from a researcher with level 3 clearance. The plot is to be cleaned of all rotten instances of SCP-757-1 twice a month, and they are to be incinerated on site. Description: SCP-757 is a fruit-producing tree similar to Prunus persea, a common peach tree, that is 3.63 meters tall. The texture and properties of its wood are identical to that of a Malus domesticus apple tree. It is easily broken, damaged, or burnt. Its leaves are identical to those of ordinary Prunus persica. I'm going to have a look for a bit. I have to take care of my dog. Hey, no problem. You do take care of your dog now. Make sure she is okay. Every dawn, SCP-757 produces new fruits which are collectively designated -1. Growth takes 5 minutes on average, although the size of the fruit is directly proportional to the growth time. Instances of -1 remain in place for the duration of the day, and at dusk fall to the ground and rot rapidly. The amount of time an instance of -1 takes to rot is directly proportional to its size. Human beings viewing -1 while it remains attached to SCP-757 display a minor compulsion to consume it. Instances of -1 are universally reported to be extremely sweet and delicious. If a subject consumes any part of an instance of -1, a new organ will form in the anterior of the subject's abdomen. This process is reported to be very painful. Over the course of a week, a new fruit of the type consumed by the subject forms inside this organ, causing further pain and visible swelling, and in the case of a very large fruit, tissue damage. When the fruit is ripe, it is forced up a tube leading to the esophagus and ejected from the distorting the subject tissue in order to pass. It almost always causes permanent damage in its passage, despite the fruit itself being distorted to some degree in the course of ejection. The object regurgitated is always an ordinary, perfectly formed specimen of the fruit type initially consumed. It does not possess SCP-757-1's anomalous properties, but that's still ugh. So if you eat a whole watermelon, oh no. No. SCP-757 has been observed to produce the following types of fruit in decreasing order of frequency: peaches, plums, apples, pears, watermelon. I was worried that bananas, pineapple. Strawberries, that's easy. Blueberries, that's very easy. Raspberries, okay. Blackberries, kumquats, kiwi fruits, lemons, and in one case, pumpkins. They were bigger than Jesus. That how do you even barf up a pumpkin without shattering your mouth open? Like, this is. Why is it only 94? Eh? Why is it only 94? There is presently no cure for SCP-757's effect. If the new organ is surgically removed before fruit regurgitation, it grows at a rate identical to that of the first growth. Testing to determine a physical, chemical, genetic, or foreign cause of the effects is pending. Testing to determine whether SCP-757-1's juice retains its anomalous effects is pending approval. Proposal to cross-pollinate SCP-757 with SCP-1147 have been denied. SCP-757 was discovered in blank blank after several reports of people regurgitating food appeared in a local newspaper. It was eventually discovered in the backyard of an abandoned house. A large amount of rotten fruit was found on its base, along with several malnourished corpses. That's brutal, but that is very cool. And you tell me that the fruits are supposed to be healthy. But it honestly just sounds like it hurts like a lot. Spell check Vasily. Okay. Save again. We have a couple saves now. Let me just check my phone. Oh. Yeah, okay. One more time. Spell checker Vasily, yep. SCP-758 is to be kept in comfortable living quarters with whatever amenities he desires, so long as they are within Foundation protocol. SCP-758's quarter need neither lock nor guard. If he is found wandering the halls, contact one of the doctors studying the subject. He is to receive 3 meals a day and any snacks he may request. When speaking directly to SCP-758, he is to be addressed as Vasily at all times. SCP-758 is a young Russian male, 1.9 meters tall, weighing roughly 110 kilograms. Okay, so he's 7 meters taller than me, but he is 40 kilos heavier than me. Full name Vasily, blank blank, found in blank Russia in 19 blank. The subject was diagnosed as extremely low functioning autistic at the age of 4. While it is only a speculation, some members of the staff believe that the symptoms which caused SB758 to be diagnosed with autism are a coping mechanism that has been developed in response to his ability. At present, research has been unable to ascertain whether or not he actually has autism, or if this is the case. Addendum 1. Development. Records taken from the notes of Dr. Blank Blank Blank, the subject, speech and behavioral therapist prior to coming to the foundation. 2 years after his diagnosis, SB758 began displaying his ability to recognize and correct errors in technical aspects of linguistics. At the age of 6, SB758 began correcting mistakes in the newspaper his parents read. The correction included mistakes in grammar, punctuation, spelling, and syntax. During the following weeks, SB758 was given increasingly advanced material, including magazines, essays written for the classes of the subject matter taught, and eventually graduate level college textbooks and encyclopedia volumes. Upon learning of what they believed to be a savant talent, SB758's Dr. Blank's advised limiting the subject to a single language so as not to overstimulate him. At the age of blank, the subject found a pamphlet written in Mandarin on the ground outside a store. SB758 picked it up and after staying at the page for a few moments began correcting the pamphlet in the same manner as he had done with the previous materials. Dr. Blank began giving him materials in every language that he could find. Oh boy. While it's pretty cool that you can learn other languages like this, I feel like it's gonna be like the most annoying shit to deal with. Unless the way he corrects text is like done in a fair feedback and not like, shitting on it. Discovery. Agent Blank, while on psych leave, see Med 8613789, overheard SB758's parents discussing his talents and reported what he heard to the foundation immediately. Upon performing a CT scan and MRI, it was discovered by Dr. Brad and Dr. English that the language center of the subject's brain was non-existent. This led to the conclusion that the subject was an SCP, as he should not be capable of any amount of linguistic processing, much less to the degree his ability allowed him. SB758 was immediately brought to the site blank for study, where he remains in containment. See Research Log 758 for records of progress. But is he still a kid? Because that seems a bit fucked. I wonder, I assume he just acts like a normal child, but like once he sees like a grammar or just any mistake in text form, he's just like, oh, you should be like that actually. Addendum 2, effective immediately. SB758 is being reclassified as a safe and its containment procedures are being changed accordingly. He does not understand the Foundation's number designation system, so any personnel speaking to him directly should address him as Vasily if they wish to receive any kind of response, Dr. English. He's probably very young, so they shouldn't go too harsh on him. Also, can he visit his parents? Can the parents visit him? Like, how does this work? You can't just keep him. At the end, like, he doesn't really do anything bad. He just understands languages. Well, from the normal average human being's point of view, he understands languages and mistakes in text, so I don't see that as a bad thing. Then 3, it has been determined that SCP-758 is speaking truthfully when he claims that he does not understand the languages he is reading. As such, any personnel wishing to utilize SCP-758's ability for proofreading official documents may submit a request to Dr. Bry for access to the subject before or after his scheduled study session with Dr. English and Dr. Stalin. 05 blank. Note, yes, there are academic speculation about whether or not current translation of religious texts match the original message of the same text. No, SCP-758 will not be used to find out. It just doesn't matter that much to us, so stop asking. 05 blank. Research Log 758. Blank blank 19 blank, and that's basically all of them until down here. It has now been 3 weeks since I was assigned to research SCP-758's ability. To date, no progress has been made as the subject is either unwilling or unable to interact with my staff, Dr. English. We have begun leaving texts in SCP-758's quarters in hopes that he will happen upon them in his own time rather than attempting to coerce him, Dr. Solon. SCP-758 has begun making corrections to the text we leave in his quarters and is also beginning to show some signs of recognition and trust towards Dr. Solon and myself. It is currently the limitation of his interaction. Thus far, we have only provided the subject with modern terrestrial languages. Dr. English. Yesterday, the subject was provided computer coding for the first time. Not sure of his abilities with the computer. The coding was printed on a normal paper. The subject simply stared at it with a confused look on his face. Today, he was placed at a computer terminal with the same code on the screen, and after a few minutes, he began correcting errors in the code. I'll drink to that. And also, I need water. Oops, this one was a bit full, I guess. Yeah, was brimming. Brimming full. Ah, yeah. Water just hits the spot every time. Oops. It just hits the spot. Where was I? There. Today, tests with dead languages suspected to be of extraterrestrial or extra-dimensional origin began. SCPs with knowledgeable of such languages, including SCP blank and SCP blank, were asked to provide us with 2 samples of each language for comparison. One that was, to their knowledge, properly written, and one that had a number of technical errors with a varied spectrum of subtlety. All SCPs comply with our request without resistance. SCP-758's ability once again proved effective, Dr. Solon. Today, the idea was brought up that SCP-758's ability may extend to math. May extend to math, since it technically can be considered a language. The subject was presented with basic algebra proofs, at which point he spoke for the first time since coming to the facility, informing us that math isn't really a language, Dr. English. Since SCP-758 began speaking to Dr. English and I, we have learned that when he looks at text, the only language he can actually read is his native Russian. All other languages, he simply recognizes the errors that exist and how they should be corrected, Dr. Solon. Today, it was discovered by accident that SCP-758's ability is not restricted to written languages. As the subject passed 2 guards, he overheard him speaking French, and despite having no knowledge of the French language, corrected one of the guards on the way he constructed a sentence. Further testing will be required in the area, Dr. English. After more in-depth study, it has been found that when applying his abilities to spoken languages, SCP-758 is capable of correcting dialect, accent, and pronunciation in addition to the technical aspects of written languages he can correct. When asked to read a written language aloud, he has proven fully capable of speaking the words but states he still does not understand them, Dr. English. SCP-758 has shown an ability to essentially translate across time. That is to say, his ability has an understanding of the concept of a living language, and he has proven himself capable of changing a text written in a given time period and change any colloquialism and evolved words to provide a translated copy that results in the same message as the original text. In cases where he has attempted this with dead languages, he fully translated the text into the nearest living language from the time period he was asked to change it to. While he can update text to later generations of a language, it seems that he is not able to revert text to older generation of a language, Dr. English. And last one, SCP-758 has shown himself able to produce the proper pronunciation of written words upon request. To date, Dr. Solon and I have learned to fluently speak multiple dead languages with assistance from Dr. Blank, from SCP-758. Well, ain't that cute? That's why it's called a spell check. Vasily is his name, but spell check is what he does. All right. Last one. How long have we been streaming? Oh, 2 hours. Sourdough starter. This is a nice length to read, you know. If I didn't talk about Scooby-Doo for like solid 15 minutes, I'm pretty sure I would have been done by now. Euclid. All samples of SCP-759 are to be stored in wide-mouthed, airtight ceramic glass-lined containers. Samples to be kept at temperatures no lower than 0.9 degrees Celsius and no higher than 11.4 degrees Celsius. I was about to say, like, that's a big jump if it was 100, unless in active use. Once per week, the following procedure is to be observed by the assigned personnel for each active sample. Record data, time of feeding, feeder name, and feeder emotional state at time of feeding. Upon sample container, record visual, olfactory condition of sample, pour off and retain upper layer of liquid, or steer into main sample as assigned by Foundation orders. Remove 125 g of sample in an airtight inert container, retain for ongoing analysis or other use as required. Add 125 g unbleached, unbrominated, all-purpose white flour and 125 g pure distilled water. Steer with clean, unpainted wooden implement until fully incorporated. Seal container and return in cold storage. All removed samples are to be tracked and accounted for. Description: SCP-759 is a 500 gram mass of sourdough starter composed primarily of wheat flour and water. The starter active component. Ow. I don't know how I did that, but okay. The starter active component is an ongoing culture of wild yeasts, including Candida, Milleri, and Saccharomyces axigus, in symbiotic balance with multiple strains of Lactobacillus and Acetobacter organisms. The original sample first came to the Foundation attention after a sudden spontaneous outbreak of attempted murders motivated by apparently baseless jealousy in Redacted County, Vermont. Without exception, there would be murderers have recently participated in a pancake breakfast fundraiser at a local Methodist church. Further investigation led directly to a single batch of old-fashioned melt-in-your-mouth sourdough flapjacks produced by a chef with long-standing untreated case of borderline personality disorder. The chef's starter was confiscated and replaced with a visually and olfactorily indistinguishable sample of equal mass and volume. Like all starters, SCP-759 acquires a certain amount of its internal composition from its immediate environment. What distinguishes it from other sourdough is its ability to absorb the emotional state of the individuals who tend it, feed it and bake it with, and transmit that emotional state or a close derivative thereof to anyone who consumes the resultant and end product. So the reason why there were a bunch of people trying to murder each other was because the chef was had a bipolar disorder, and they all got the part where he wants to kill people. Gotcha. Absorption of emotional information seizes upon the baked product, achieving 57.5 degrees Celsius for 1 full minute. Testing of emotional information absorption while samples are in frozen or dried state is ongoing, but preliminary evidence indicates any such absorption is slow to the point of negligibility. A log of tests with SCP-759. Sample condition: initial recovered samples raised and fed daily at room temperatures for 1 week. All researchers signed in a feeding time with emotional status of calm or neutral. Batch of old-fashioned melt-in-your-mouth sourdough flapjacks from original chef's recipe. And the result, no apparent change in the emotional state of subject. Flapjacks pronounced delicious. Sample condition, raised and fed weekly for 1 month by Class D personnel with documented anger management issues and poor impulse control. 2 San Francisco-style baguettes. After consumption of approximately half of the first baguette with butter and jam, an argument broke out over the rightful ownership of the second. The question was rendered moot when one of the test subjects picked up the second loaf and attempted to beat his fellow senses with it, effectively destroying the remaining bread. Yeah. Sample condition, raised and fed weekly for 1 month by volunteers under the influence of mood-elevating medication. Sample 16 plain bagels, significant improvement of mood and temperament in 8% of test subjects for 6 hours remaining. 20% experienced nausea, abdominal bloating, and fatigue. May have been undiagnosed celiac sprue. The test subjects reported feeling significantly more philosophical and mellow about the condition than expected. Sample condition, raised and fed for weekly for 1 month by automated machinery, baked entirely by automated machinery in isolation. 3-stage French I guess, I don't know. No emotional change noted. Several tastes noted. A tiny or metallic taste. A tinny or metallic taste, excuse me. Not tiny. Sample condition, kept in SP 682's containment chamber for 1 hour. Hold on now. Now you hold you just a moment here. You don't mean the one I think you mean. Really? Why would you put it in that guy? Yeah, it was hard to destroy reptile. 1 loaf challah braised style. Initial response appeared similar to that of one of the baguette experiment. The test subject became aggressive and argumentative shortly after ingesting several slices. Rather than attacking challah, the test subject finished the loaf, proceeded to the test kitchen, and began a systematic attempt at the destruction of every other baked good not made with SB759 as its primary leavening agent. Subject proved difficult to subdue. Oh great, he's now as tough to subdue as not as tough, but he has adapted to how to kill reptiles' toughness. Sample condition also kept in SP682's containment chamber for 1 hour, adulterated shortly thereafter with 10 grams dry domestic yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. 1 batch English muffins experiment supervisor Dr. Blank specifically requested a change to something with less weight to throw around if the testers get stroppy. Baked on the same condition as the aggression challah. Subject immediately became cranky, uncooperative, and argumentative upon consumption of the test product. The result has been unofficially dubbed Grumpy Muffin. Nice. Sample condition, raised and fed daily at room temperature under the bed of nearly married Asian for 1 week. 6 blueberry muffins. Result data expunged. They probably. It's a newly married Asian, so they probably got a bit freaky during the honeymoon. So yeah, probably not the best idea to make somebody eat a food that might raise that type of behavior. Raised and fed twice weekly for 1 month by person diagnosed with severe clinical depression. Unlike prior experiments, the liquid layer was not stirred into the main mass of the starter at the feeding time, but drawn off and retained separately. Resultant product was then refilled to remove particulate matter and added to the test subject's alcoholic beverage of choice for 1 week. Liquid despair. Subject began to exhibit signs of emotional distress within minutes of consuming the first doped beverage. Psychological evaluation at the end of the week indicated a depressive state on the order of that diagnosed in feeder personnel, including suicidal ideation. Symptoms had largely cleared 2 weeks after cessation of experiment, but lingering effects remained. The possible foundation uses for SCP-759 are numerous and should be self-evident. Requesting some permission to test liquid to spare minimum potency and LD50 as possible means of inducing suicide in otherwise problematic targets. And we're done. I got a bit tired at the end there, but that's what, yeah, it's been a lot of reacting and reading and watching today. And here is the list. So automatic this is definitely the top of the list. I just think it's such a cool look. It's such a cool design of a machine, and the fact that it just paints all day. Where you got the point where it just god damn. You got the point where it just wants to die, and so it paints his own death multiple times. It's kind of funny. The fruit tree, it's just very dark, isn't it? But I love it. I love the fact that it's dark like that. Watch out for the white bird. That's just hilarious. The guy just writes that in graffiti, like, "Hey, watch out, bro. You best watch out now." The next thing you know, a white bird just smacks you in the face. A different outlook on life. Just the idea was pretty creepy for me. Like you put like contact lenses on, and suddenly you have this whole different view of what the world looks like around you. It reminds me of that very short scene in the opening of the first opening of Jujutsu Kaisen, when like Maki's about to like put the shades on, and then like she can see like this fish like curse coming out of the water. That's why I imagine it to be, just way more like gruesome and less, you know, organized. Spell check Vasily. It's just pretty dope that he can just he doesn't understand the language, but he can correct the language. Doesn't matter what the type of language it is. So that's pretty dope for me. Miniature solar system. I think once I got past the fact that it was a solar system, because I was like, I'm not much of a space guy myself, so I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to understand this. But once I saw like how it described, each planet was described, I was like, this is pretty dope. I like that. Sourdough starter. I mean, let's be honest, we all wish we could bite into a bagel and just feel like eternal happiness. It would fix so many emotional issues. Organ eater, just ooh. That thing just goes in, and next thing you know, oh god, no. Your organs are gone, dude. And then it pops out of you like so. Like it's just your skin and your whole body explodes basically as this thing just comes out. Illustrated climbing vine. I think it's definitely more artistic. It's drawing, so of course it's artistic, but like just like the way it's described, you know, the fact that it's just like grows through other paper areas or other surfaces and then becomes part of it. Altruistic and cute. Yeah. As Kiba and I already said, kind of messed up that it can't blow it up, you know. There's this whole utopia on the ground. Well, all population on the ground. That you just have to hope that nobody finds out that the Earth exists. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that now, guys. As you can tell, I'm getting kind of tired. So I hope you all enjoyed this SCP reading, and I see you tomorrow for the 760s of the SCPs. So, y'all, I hope you all had a good morning, afternoon, evening, and keep in. Thank you very much for watching. Lexi, thank you very much.